Okay, so I'll start by introducing myself. A lot of you, I think, were with us the last time. I see some new names and faces joining us, which is very exciting. I'm Rachel Schur. I am a lecturer at San Francisco State University, and I also have a consulting company called Schur Nutrition Science Consulting. And I'll hand it over to Virginia to introduce herself.
Hi, Virginia Stage. I'm a nutrition education behavior specialist at North Carolina State University and NC State Extension.
Okay, so we will be sort of running the behind the scenes show here. I will give you the disclosure that I'm not that tech savvy, so sorry in advance. Virginia is more tech savvy, so we're really excited everyone is here with us today. We found this session that we hosted back in the spring to be incredibly helpful, and so we're really excited to pick up right where we left off several months back. And so I think, Virginia, I'm going to hand it off to you to kind of share some of this back-end housekeeping.
Yes, so before we get to our speaker introductions, because as you've seen in the agenda, we'll start with this overview clearly and jump into our mini sessions, and towards the end we'll actually have some open discussion. But we want to remind you of a few housekeeping things. If you haven't already and you're comfortable, please make sure that you put your name, pronouns, etc. into the chat box so we know who's here. Also make sure to edit your name in Zoom if it doesn't say your name as you would like to be known. Sometimes we log in and it gives us a name. So check that. Like Rachel said, this call is being recorded. So please make sure that you are muted if you aren't already. It sounds like most people are muted at this point. I don't hear any background noise, but you are able to unmute yourself when we get to the discussion part. But you also can just put information or questions into the chat box if you're not comfortable speaking up. So for questions while we have our presenters talking, please do use the chat box, and we'll make sure towards the end of their session that we'll leave time for Q&A, and we can address those questions and have some conversation around their presentation at that time. We'll also be sending out handouts and other resources that may come up or be mentioned throughout today's webinar at the end. This will include the recording. We typically post that on YouTube in sections, so you don't necessarily have to watch a full 2-hour recording, but we'll work on that after the fact and then send those links out there as well. Let me pop forward. So today's goal, we just talked a little bit about what to expect for today. Ooh, I found a little typo there. We have too many sessions this time because last time we had 3 and we felt like there was actually so much great conversation around the topics that we wanted to provide some more space for that. So we'll have 2 speakers today that we'll introduce here in a second. And then as before, we'll have space to talk about some of the hot topic issues that have come up and been submitted by participants here today, but also things that we've seen over the last 6 months or so since we had our last forum. And then as pertinent, we'll talk about some of the next steps similar to what we did last time for this collaborative as a whole. I'm going to pass it back to Rachel.
So just to kind of reiterate what we have discussed the previous session, for those of you who are new, this is a chance to share. For those of you who are joining us again, we just want to reiterate that the goal of our collaborative is really to provide a space to share research progress and plans. It gives us an opportunity, since this is sort of a new and emerging technology, to work with each other, see who's doing what, form new collaborations, to troubleshoot challenges that have arisen or are rising with the Veggie meter, and sort of give a space to share how those of us are working through it. We also want to use this for opportunities to brainstorm new research ideas and form new collaborations. And, I think we're generally a collaborative group. So it's been a really nice way for us to connect. We used to connect in real life at meetings, but no one's been to any of those in a while. So this is a nice backup option.